Well, hi everyone, and welcome to this live fashion exhibition. There'll be a presentation by Scott and Katie. During the presentation, feel free to ask questions via the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. And at the end of the presentation, I'll ask these questions to our wonderful panelists. But without further ado, I'll now pass over to Scott and Katie.
Hi everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Anjali. Hi everyone, I'm Scott.
And I'm Katie, that very TV presenter.
And also in the other box, Iman, hello.
Hi guys, my name's Iman and I'm a graduate academic assistant here at Middlesex, so it's lovely to be here today.
We're delighted. We're all delighted here. So we've actually got our third year graduation website launched this week. So we're delivering online events and talks, and actually Iman has just ran from one of those online into our session. That's why she popped up in perfect time. So welcome to Middlesex University. We're obviously working remotely for now, so you can see all our sort of various backgrounds. I've got two cats who will probably at some point jump up and out of the frame, which is all good. We have a 60-minute session, give or take, and we want this to be really interactive. So feel free to ask questions in the Q&A box about any of the programs, the foundation, any of our undergraduate programs, any questions that you're not quite sure about your next steps. Obviously, the world has been COVID and a bit of a whirlwind, but now we're getting back into some normality and thinking about our careers and where you want to move in certain directions. So I don't want to speak too much. So my name's Scott. I'm the Director of Fashion Programs. So I work across the whole directorate, helping manage and shape the curriculum and lots of the admin work and lots of behind the scenes work. So all the kind of boring stuff that you never really need to think about, I'm usually there helping the teams to navigate through. Shall we move on to Katie?
Yes. Yep. Hi everyone, my name's Katie Jones. I am a tutor on the Middlesex Fashion Foundation. And we're going to go through in a little bit just some of the work that we produce over the year. I am a crochet practitioner in my out of university time, and I have a sort of textiles and fashion focus. So that's my background, and I work on the Fashion Foundation, which is an introductory year really to all of the Middlesex fashion courses. Shall I roll into those, Scott? Yeah.
Iman, do you want to, I know you did introduce yourself, but a little bit more about your practice and kind of your interest?
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Scott. So hi guys, like I said, my name's Iman and I graduated with a degree in fashion design in 2018. I am unfortunately not an alumni of Middlesex. However, I did undertake a fashion foundation at another institution, and it was actually quite a pivotal year for me. And till this day, I would probably say it was one of the best years of my education. So definitely think about, and obviously you're here thinking about doing a foundation, but do take it seriously. And as Scott and Katie have said, any questions, feel free just to put them in the chat box. Any uncertainties, just let us know and we'll be happy to help you and answer any questions you have.
Perfect. So I can tell you a little bit about the Fashion Foundation. So at Middlesex, we're really lucky to have a really large fashion directorate, and we actually have 3 different fashion BAs. Scott can correct me if I name them wrong. So we have fashion design, we have fashion textiles with design, and fashion communication and styling. And so there are 3 main degrees. And I think sometimes when you're studying coming to university, like fashion is a massive subject and there's loads of different facets to it, and because it's a subject that and you might be doing like a specific BTEC or a specific diploma, you don't really get to explore the real breadth of fashion. And so what we do have at Middlesex, which supports all of our fashion degrees, is a year 0 course. And so basically what that means is if you join the Fashion Foundation, you're already part of the Middlesex family. So you're already on one of the bigger degrees, but it's kind of an introductory step. And so we have this year, which works as a year 0. which basically you get to try out a little bit of everything. So we do a little bit of design, we do a little bit of textiles, and we do a little bit of styling, and we mix it together so you can really explore all the different avenues to get your taste really of what then you might want to take on for your degree for the rest of your 3 years after at university. And it's really a time to explore, play, and find out more about fashion, and especially if it's something sort of new to you, it really helps bridge that step and bridge that gap from studying at sixth form or college to then coming into the university environment.
Katie, I might jump in just when you said that, because it made me
Perfect.
think, I think a lot of the time when you're at school and when you're doing after school clubs and you're good at drawing, you might think, oh, I want to do just design. But when you think about the foundation, you might be good at drawing or good at knitting or good at making with your hands, but then you learn things about the wider industry. So what it is to be a fashion stylist or a photographer or a graphic artist or a weaver or all those things. So just I think as you were saying that, Katie, it made me think that although you might have preconceptions of what you want to do, it's a really good way of testing and tasting everything.
And sometimes it really changes. So we also have a lot of people that come to the foundation and at the other end, they think that they're wanting to do styling, but then actually fall in love with textiles, or come and they think they want to do textiles and fall in love with design or fashion. So it's really that chance where you can be gravitating towards one, you might not be gravitating towards any, but there's also that chance to explore and play and see what you like, because I think it's really a year where you get to find out more about the fashion industry. And one thing that I think Middlesex really prides itself on is the majority of our lecturing base are also still practicing practitioners. So we're all still in industry, which really helps give students a sort of up-to-date insight into actually the workings of the fashion industry, and also means that our directorate has loads of connections and sort of insights into possibilities. So that really helps support all our courses.
Very nicely put, Katie. Iman, any thoughts just before I think what we'll do, we'll start going through the Fashion Foundation website and pick out a few projects, but Iman, any thoughts on kind of?
I would just echo that as somebody who has done a foundation and how beneficial it is. And it's true, you do then get to know more about yourself as a creative, like actually, yeah, I did think I was a fashion designer, but actually I'm a stylist. And it allows you also, as you go through your practice and whatever degree you choose, you can still pull on the skills and the things that you've learned on your foundation. It's not a waste of a year. I'm telling you, my foundation, like I said, the best year of my education, I think. But it's not a waste of a year. It's a chance for you to say, you know what, yeah, I'm going to dabble in this, I'm going to dabble in that, I'm going to know a bit about this, I'm going to know a bit about that, and I'm going to choose one thing and then obviously pursue it in a higher degree, etc. But you've got all this experience, all this extra knowledge that if you want to, you can build upon in the later future in your masters or something. So I definitely echo what Katie was saying in terms of allowing the foundation allows you to get all this experience and nuggets of information that you can definitely use later on.
And it helps support each other, because I think what you do learn in fashion is that it's a much bigger industry, I think, than you first think when you're going into it and you're first sort of unpacking what goes into being a designer or a stylist, or all these different avenues. But having that sort of cross knowledge is so important, because if you're a stylist and you have more understanding of fabrics, it really helps you style something. And if you're a textile designer and you know more about how to light your work and take better pictures, which we also do, that supports that. So it's not that you ever sort of pick one and you never do the others. It just might be the thing that you end up gravitating towards the most, but it gives you like a really full breadth of knowledge to start off your time in fashion and your time at university.
That's totally true. And I guess even when it comes to when you're thinking about your first steps into an industry, I know when I was kind of doing my certificate, like 100 years ago, it feels like, but I just thought like there was a designer, like a famous designer, and that's it. And you think, how do I get to be that role? How can I make it in that term? Because we're fed that through famous people and through, you know, social media and the sort of the industries that we're all looking into. But actually, a fashion show, there's so many hundreds of people that take part in that, from PR, constructing the actual physical catwalk, the lighting, the music, the makeup artists, the hair. So I think it's a really fully faceted, incredible place to work. And I think, I don't know if Katie said they're like creating your network and your friends and being collaborative, because you can't do it alone at all. It really is a collaborative process. Shall we head over? So I think you can see the screen, can't you? I've shared my screen, you can see the website. So Katie, I will, because Katie works on the programme quite closely, Emma and I can pick out some projects maybe, and then you could talk us through kind of the how-tos, any tips that our viewers can make a note of and maybe apply to their own practice. So everyone watching, please do get pen and paper, take down lots of notes. I'm sure you can find stuff on YouTube as well, or I don't know, all that kind of stuff. It's a bit Blue Peter if that's if Blue Peter.
And if you have any questions along the way, audience, like put them in the Q&A box, because we're really happy to answer anything if you feel it's relevant, non-relevant. It's just sort of at the back of your mind. Please shout them out at us in that Q&A box down the bottom.
Yes, in capitals, so we know that you're shouting. Okay, Katie, so welcome to the Class of 2021 website. At the top, we've got Fashion Monsters, Extraordinary, Ordinary?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful.
Extraordinary, Ordinary. Extraordinary. Fashion Writing, Lucky Dip, Virtual Styling, Shelter. So you've said that the images and the projects are in a kind of chronological.
You can click through to the different ones. So I'll do a little oversight. So basically, this was a website that we put together to highlight some of the work that our students produced this year. And the titles along the top are various projects that we've worked on. And so, like I said, we have different focuses. And the first project we start on is the Fashion Monsters project. So you can click through on that one if you want, Scott. And the Fashion Monsters project is part of one of the first modules. It's the first module of the course. And this is really a sort of fun introductory project which has a skills focus. So like I was saying, how we try and make our projects, they all have a certain more sort of driving force, but this was a project where the students had to explore extremes in fashion and showpieces, which are sort of fashion pieces which are labours of love. They're normally the extreme catwalk pieces that have a lot of couture elements to them, so a lot of hand working, embroidery. They play with shapes and proportions. And this was a textile focused project where, especially when we were starting the year and we started the year online, we were working in quarter scale. So we got all the students to make their own mini-me's in quarter scale. And then this was a project where we explored sort of 4 textile techniques within fashion. So we explored macrame, which is a sort of rope knotting technique, print, embroidery, and fabric manipulation. And the students had to create a sort of dramatic outfit for each, but then it had to also end in a styled photo. So this is where I'm saying that each project sort of contains a little bit of all the elements. So we had the textile element, the design element, and then they had to style and shoot their final piece.
Katie, can I ask, so you said macrame, can we find an example of macrame, just in case people don't know that actual term? If you can maybe, if we go back, sorry, just my computer's going a little bit slow. And if there's any, so is this macrame?
Right, if you click on this, where are we? The one.
Jose and Berlina.
You scroll, we went past. So if you click on the one in the middle, Scott, Edmund.
Edmund, yes, this one?
Yes, perfect.
Cool.
So the first image, I think, is his macrame.
Yeah, these are great.
So yeah, so this first image on, oh, skip one
Sorry,
more
excuse me,
across, we skip. So the image on the left here, that's macrame. And so for this project, this was like the styled shoot element. And I think it was a really fun challenge to sort of work out how you could photograph and light and place these mini me characters. Because that's also part of the drama of showpiece, is like how you represent your work. And so the piece that is on the left is a sort of macrame knotted technique. And
Very
so
cool. And the other terms were embellishment and embroidery.
yes, embellishment.
So I guess that's even looking at Edmund's project again, that's kind of embellishment, that's
Yes,
embroidery.
so he did sort of some print and embroidery on the top. And so all of these, we had a week on each. And you had like an intensive skill tutorial, which you learned the basic skills, and then you had to do a little bit of your own research and create these mood boards. So this is his embroidery mood board, and then that had to influence your work. So one of the big things that we do in foundation, and I think is where it's quite a stepping stone from level 3, if you're in that, doing a sort of BTEC or diploma or A levels, is that progression from how you research. So a big part of the course is learning those sort of key research and development skills and starting to really explore the things that you love and make you tick and that you gravitate towards. And you'll see, and I think where you find out is where we really take that sort of, which a lower level comes, I think, with sometimes more written work, which we do have in a separate module, but it's where we are translating how you would normally write into your visual language and teaching you skills how to visually present your ideas in a way that then is really helpful for industry practice and helps you on that stepping stone into year 1 and degree and BA sort of moving forward. So it's all about sort of finding good quality images that relate to things, building mood boards, building an idea, an aesthetic or thing that you're looking at, and then how you translate that through into your project.
And that's taught from day 1, isn't it, Katie? So you're supported.
Yes, it's supported, and it's quite a different way of learning, I think, from previous when you're coming to uni. And I think that is what we really focus on, getting those research skills and also you exploring your identity as a maker, as a designer, as a photographer, embracing your style. At Middlesex, we don't try and kind of do a one mold fits all in how people learn, in how people present, and we really try and nurture, give you the tools to be able to feel comfortable in learning how to present your work, trying things. Some things work, some things don't. I think that's what foundation is really about. It's for that exploratory, trying different things. So this was a print piece where we'd done fabric manipulation the week before. And so this is really about that idea of growing your skills and seeing how different things overlap. So that really helped them with the design of this piece. And we were learning how to make print stamps and dyeing our fabric, and then exploring shapes for these pieces.
And also, Katie, just in case the audience don't know, that this is quarter scale. So that's like so if you think about a top or a dress or a shirt, that becomes like a quarter of that. But
so it's your, like the mini me's we built, I think are supposed to be 34 centimeters tall. And it's really fun actually quarter scale, because you can, especially for this project where we're exploring extremes, you're able to create extremes much more sort of easily and play around with lots of ideas really quickly. And quarter scale is something that actually was sort of, I think, sparked initially by COVID at the beginning, and a lot of the courses moving into doing their exploratory quarter scale. But actually it's something that now all of the courses have really taken on. One, for a focus on sustainability and you guys as students, because it means when you're first doing your exploration that you're not having to buy reams and reams of fabric. You can use materials, so it's really sustainably minded, but you can also explore ideas really quickly. And if it's something that you're interested in, the students last year from the Fashion Design with Textiles BA made an amazing video that got shown by the British Fashion Council of all their quarter scales sort of enacting, and that's how they made their final pieces. And it was really, really, really exciting, and it actually gave the students a lot of freedom. So this is something that we've really adopted in foundation. And so because it's where a lot of the students like to explore new and interesting ideas that are sort of quite, you know, we don't sort of hamper you down. At quarter scale really gives you the room to do that. And then we move into working larger scale if you want to.
And also industry working quarter scale, don't they often? So all the big design houses like the Queen and Victor and Rolf, they've created famous exhibitions with their mini sort of mannequin style designs, because it is about sustainability and it's cost effective. And you don't have all this bulk of fabric waiting to.
We were really inspired by, there was a collection last year, but for Machino by Jeremy Scott, and they produced a whole collection with puppets, and it was a really big inspiration for this project and thinking about the mini me. And I think it definitely, it's one of those things which a lot more industry practice is sort of picking up, because it really addresses those sustainable ideals which are becoming very much important within the industry.
So Fashion Monsters, Katie, how long would that project last?
So Fashion Monsters was a 5-week project at the beginning.
Yeah.
So the students had a week to make their mini me, and then you had a week per skill. So there were 4 skill focuses on it, and so you had a week. So it's quite quick paced. When you're studying the foundation, there are 4 main modules when a course is broken down into modules, and this project was a whole module. So it's the first thing we did, and it was a really fun project for the students to explore lots of different things, but also to get to know each other, because you had to sort of make this mini me and introduce it and create this whole world. So it was a really exciting exploratory project for us to sort of get to know each individual student and give them a good overview of the different techniques that we were going to be looking at in the course.
And it's about having fun, as you said. Should we move on to extraordinary ordinary?
Yes.
I'm just aware of time. That went by so quickly, but I'm just aware of the time. So extraordinary ordinary. Everyone can see that. Oops, sorry, my screen's going a little bit funny. The internet's a bit slow today. So Katie, what projects should we look at? So these all look quite exciting. Was this a styling or a photography?
So this was a styling and photography focused project. So we just finished a design and textiles focused project, which had a styling element. And like I said, they all sort of cross over. This was a project that was really inspired by the brand Rottingdean Bazaar, who use a lot of everyday objects in their work. And this was also a project that was sort of at the height, I think, of second lockdown or third lockdown. So everyone was working from home remotely and didn't really have access to go buy materials. And so it was a project to really explore what you have in your home environment and make it exciting. And so we had a really quick week. So it was a styling and photography project. And the first week was about thinking about finding the objects and making an outfit. And then the next 2 weeks, we had focusing on exploring types of light with photography. So you had to make your outfit, which could be quarter scale or full scale. And then you had to explore photographing that outfit. And so we were using natural light, and then we had 2 weeks focusing on natural light, and then we had 2 weeks focusing on artificial light. And it was really about going in depth and thinking about posing, lighting, and how that affects when you're working. So although it did have that construction and making element, which was actually a really fun task, because it was also at the time where lots of people on TikTok and Instagram were experimenting, making lots of different like couture and fashion outfits at home out of things. And so the students really got to explore sort of playing around, dressing up, using unusual materials, but then thinking about how do you photograph that and get the best out of it, and really going into in depth. So this had a really strong.
That's an amazing image from book, pages from books. That's cool.
Yeah, a really, and this project also had a much more. The making project was really making focused, but alongside this project, we had a strong sort of introduction into research and development. And so this is where we start working on mood boards, sourcing ideas, sourcing images, learning how to reference correctly, which is really important, and growing those skills, those digital skills, alongside creating.
There's a tomato. That's one of Rottingdean Bazaar's tomatoes. Brilliant.
And it's really where we start embedding like how we give you a starting point as a project. And so everyone gets the same starting point, but then actually where you, each of students like individually go from there, and how you develop personally, and where you can find your images, what you can make. And then we have a big thing, where all face, if you can use your mini me, or if you use yourself, there was a rule of like no faces. So your identity had to be hidden. So then it was like this fun task of thinking about sort of making masks. How do you crop? How do you work with that?
I would just say, can I just say something, guys? Hi, everyone. So far, I hope that the work that you're seeing, guys, is really inspiring you, and you're probably sitting there a bit overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, will I ever be able to make something like that? Or I can't wait to make something like that. You're probably all feeling a few different things, but I would just say from my experience, is that be open to the process if you are seriously considering doing a foundation here at Middlesex or elsewhere. And I say that because it will be a culture shock to you, to some of you. You're probably coming from very traditional art backgrounds, or wherever you come. So if you can hear background noise, wherever you're coming from. So it probably will be a shock to the system. But as Katie said, this is a year for you guys to find out who you are as well as a creative, where you fit in. You probably hear of designers or creatives or brands that you've never heard before, and that you'll be interested in. You'll be like, oh, I didn't know I like that. Or, so I'm just encouraging you guys that as you are looking at these things, yes, feel excited. Yes, feel a bit scared. You should probably feel a bit scared because it's something new, and we are going to challenge you, and you are going to be somewhat thrown in the deep end, but it's all because we want you guys to be exposed to as much as possible, so you can fill your bank of head knowledge, creative knowledge, and you can use it in your future if you want to continue on a degree, etc. So I don't want to say feel the fear, but feel the fear. But also I hope the content we are showing you is getting your mind working, and kind of setting up an expectation of what you could be doing here with us at Middlesex. So over back to you guys.
No, and I think that's a really good thing, because also you're not left completely alone in the dark. So we normally, for each project, we give you a bank of like designers or artists or relevant people that we help show you through, and then you can use that and we kind of guide you through. Foundation, you get a lot of contact time. It's something we pride ourselves on this. So it's really, you're thrown, I say, like everyone says, thrown in the deep end, but with like a big inflatable, which is like the foundation team. That sort of, you get a lot of contact time across the board at Middlesex. It's something that Middlesex really prides itself on. That ability to spend time with your tutors, talk through work, get a lot of one-to-one support. Because yes, on the foundation, a lot of the students who come with a really ranging levels of knowledge. Some who have never done fashion or art, some who've come from art, some who've come from fashion, some who've come from film or photography, some sociology. It's a real range. And so it's really a fun, exciting year to sort of learn from each other, but build those skills together. And really, we say when you're coming to foundation, some of the things that we really look for in a foundation is just that enthusiasm to sort of learn. We love it if like you're just obsessed with different stuff or interested. It doesn't need to be even fashion related when you come. It's like really exciting to learn about you as students, what you really love, what you're interested in, and how we can focus that into your creative work.
Yeah, I think that's really true. Just picking up on what both of you said, the idea of like taking risk and feeling the fear and throwing yourself into it. And if you maybe with your teachers at school or at college, you might feel like you're held back a little bit in order to like learn certain things that you need to do. When you come to uni, it's all about you. It's all about developing your identity, your aesthetics, your ideas. That's where the real independence comes from. And it's scary to make work. Like we all have a practice, and Katie and I have our own ways of working with creative work. And it is scary when you think, gosh, it's a white page. How do I create the drawing, or how do I make the fabric work? So that's what you learn. So a lot of the pages, it's true what Iman said, it's quite overwhelming. Like there's so much stuff, and some of it you're like, how is that? What is that fashion? It's completely bonkers, because then it goes through the design process, which is what you do in your journey. There was a question that's came in. Should I read it out, Katie and Iman? Just
that's fine.
I don't know if you can see the Q&A box. Can you see? It's on my screen. Oh, it's already been answered. Angeli's answered it already about the studying and communication. So we'll just move on then quickly, just aware of time again, to the part we can look, the fashion writing. So again, that might be something that you want to come and do a creative course and make work and be playful and work with your hands. But there is a bit of sort of gallery visits and reading and just.
So with everything at university, there's an academic element to it, and if you're coming to a creative course, sometimes that can be quite daunting, because we have but that's where we have like a lot of support. And so one of the modules that you undertake on the Fashion Foundation, and when you go into the BA, you have a whole module that is sort of run by Visual Cultures. So the module in Fashion Foundation is called Creative London. We work on creating zines, but also working on writing and sort of fashion study. And for this year, we were looking at different elements within the fashion industry. And it was a really, really important session that underpins the rest of your work and development. So we were looking at different things in the industry, such as beauty standards, race and diversity, sustainability, and these are things that are really like inclusivity in fashion, and these are really, really important issues. And we have some really, really interesting discussions, and we go through shows and artwork and campaigns and decode them and break them down. We go on gallery visits, we look at art. I think an important thing to realize is that fashion isn't separate to art, and it's also not separate to global issues and the wider world. It's really an integral thing, part of that. And this is the module where we really explore that connection. And so I think when you're coming, you might be someone who comes with more of an art background, you might become someone that comes with more a writing background, but this is somewhere where you can really explore those different elements and discuss like important current issues and the industry in a way through zines and writing, and that becomes a really important underpinning for your practice across the course.
And that's with all the undergraduate programs, like you said, Katie. So when you get through the foundation and you do come into first year, from first, second, and third year, there's one day of the week where we dedicate to lectures and seminars and external trips when we can get back into the world, and watching movies and listening to podcasts. And it's all very much about learning sort of themes and conversations around the bigger societal questions, which affect your work. And then when you learn all those kind of things, then that comes through in your creative project. So you don't realize you're doing it at the same time. So we're giving you so much information for you to then understand, and then it comes out again in sort of really amazing creative ways.
And Middlesex Sorry, Scott. I was just going to say it really prides on itself also on its ways that you do this. So in the foundation, we work with zines and writing that you get a lot of guidance through. On the BA, as you go through, we're on BAs, normally at the end in your final year, you have to do a dissertation of sorts, which is like the academic written part. But Middlesex really prides itself on the ways that you can deliver this, because we also understand that we all learn really differently. You tend, I myself included, very dyslexic. You get a lot of people with dyslexia and creative courses. So we have lots of different ways that you can submit your work, because I think this is something that, especially going into a creative degree, can sometimes cause anxiety, the academic part to it. And at Middlesex, when you're presenting your work, there's different ways. So we have written essays, but you can choose to do presentations, or you can choose to do sort of photo books instead, and all of these things just give you more options. And so this is where I was sort of saying how we really try, it's not trying to make everyone tick the same box. It's like working out how you learn best, how you can produce your best work on the outside, and working together to make the experience as enjoyable as possible.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
Sorry, guys. I would just say on the back of that, to be honest, guys, that yes, the academic side can be daunting for some, and it can be exciting for some. And in a degree, to get your honours, you do have to undertake the academic side. And again, don't be frightened about it. Don't let it put you off anything. What it is, and the great thing here, I work with the visual cultures team, and we do lectures and seminars, and we host great discussions, and you will have a lot of help and a lot of resources and talks with the tutors. Are fantastic here. They really know what they're talking about. But it's another way for you guys to open up your mind to what is happening in your world, this society that you are living in. You don't want to be an ignorant creative and just doing whatever. You're not just a creative, you are a thinker. You are possibly a world changer, in better words. So you want to fill your mind with and understand things that are happening in the world around you, in other parts of the world. So just think of it like that this is the opportunity for you guys to, yes, have your creative side, but also, okay, what is happening about this? Or I want to understand a bit more about sustainable fashion and what is happening in the world and what's happening in this side. So that then informs your creative practice, that will evidently make you into a better designer, stylist, photographer, etc. Again, you're just adding into your bank of knowledge, just in a more academic route. And you will have the opportunity to do, I think, a visual essay. I can't remember in what year you do that, but I think it does still equate to the same as if you were doing a traditional dissertation. Don't quote me on that. But you will have a lot of support, a lot of written support if you need be. You have people like me, GAA, who are there to help you and support you. So don't let this written side put you off. If anything, be excited about it. It's challenging, but it's going to get you thinking. It's going to get you having discussion. It's going to get you questioning things about, okay, well, why do we think this way? Or why is that color red, for instance? So get excited about it, and again, don't let it put you off. But yeah,
we guide you from the beginning, and so that's why we start it in foundation, that we like take that step by step, so it becomes like a really easy gradual process, building your skills, your knowledge, your ability step by step through each of the years.
Definitely.
Brilliantly put. Shall we look at one more project? Katie and Amanda, are you happy? Which one should we do? Lucky Dip or the virtual styling?
I mean, Lucky Dip's mine, so I'm always.
Should we do Lucky Dip?
My baby.
Lucky Dip.
Yeah, we should have had like a graphic with a pot you could pick out.
I mean, that's basically the premise of the project.
Just a reminder to all the viewers, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A box, and one of us can read them out. We can get to that as well at the end. I know there's lots of information coming through. So Lucky Dip, Katie Jones.
Lucky Dip is basically like a problem-solving project. It's a design and construction project, but you get given each student got given like an artist and an architect. or a type of architecture, and these were picked at complete random. So across the course, it's really amazing, and this really is where we're talking about you building your personal knowledge of artists and architects. So each student had to research too, and then as a collective, when we hear about that, you're also learning about who everyone else was looking at, because we do a lot of work sharing and sort of group talking. It's not as much as a crit, it's not a scary thing, but it's really getting practice in talking about your work and your research, and we sort of start that from the beginning, so it becomes a real sort of natural thing. And so this was a project where you got completely two random things, and you had to do enough research on each that you either created some kind of connection between them, or you worked out how you could mix and match them, or like kind of clash them. And it started with then doing thinking about the 3D form, and we did collage designs, where then the focus was really on about how fashion is 3D. Whichever avenue of fashion you go into, it's not about just a front or a back. And something that we do quite a lot when we're thinking about designing is everyone gravitates to just drawing the front, drawing the front, drawing the front. And so this was a project where we really explored thinking about the work in 3D and how we could construct shapes to do that. So we were exploring, really the focus was on looking at different artists and architects and how we could find connections in our research. But then in our making, it was about really exploring form and how we could create forms. And so the students had to make 3 sort of miniature mock-ups, which in fashion is called like a toile, but it's a mock-up of each thing, and then pick one to make a final piece. And so we started off with very abstract collages and how we could then translate that into garments. Oh, is there a hand up?
Yeah,
there is. I think if you've raised a hand, you need to put it in a question box.
Put it in a question. Katie, just when you said there about it's not just the front and the back, like there's a side view here.
Yeah.
It's really important to remember that when you're doing a design, like what happens at the sides, because we're not like
we're not flat. We're not flat.
Yeah.
So it's really about thinking about, like, if you've drawn a piece, what does it look like from the back? How does that work? How does it work from the side? And they're just really important things to think about, because actually, if then you're a photographer, it's like, which bits are you capturing? And so it was really understanding like how you could translate form and make that 3D shape. And then from design, how do you make that in reality? So it's really like a problem solving project. And you'll find that actually most design projects are problem solving projects. We kind of give you a brief, we set you a project, set you a problem, and then it's working out like how you can explore it. How does it work? Some things really won't work. And that is something that we really champion, because I think there's this constant thing where you want to edit, you want to cull down, you want it to be perfect. And actually, we really want to explore the imperfect and see kind of what mistakes do you make? Are they really mistakes? Can we look at it in a different way and explore those? And so this was a project that really built on the projects we've done previously. And so that's what we do in Foundation. We kind of build, we don't expect you to come with like, we'll build you each step by step by step. So each project sort of grows, adds a new layer of the process, really building your skills and your techniques.
So even if someone comes that's never sat on a sewing machine before,
yeah, you don't have to be able to sew. We take you through the inductions, all the process. It's really coming with an energy and interest. And so especially like if you're still at the stage where you're putting together a portfolio, you know, it's also remembering that fashion is really broad, like we keep saying. So it's about photography, it's about art, it's about current affairs, it's about this. It's like filling your portfolio with sort of ideas and drawings and collage, and that's what you can show us. It's knowing that you've got an interest and a spark, and we want to see sort of how your brain makes decisions. But actually we will teach you, then don't worry if you come with zero sewing skill or you've never used a proper camera.
Yeah, this one image, it's so it's like a gallery piece. You
Yeah.
can see that in a massive art gallery. It looks so cool, doesn't it? Brilliant. Emma, any thoughts? Just when we're talking about sort of the 3D and the sort of sustainable stuff.
Yeah, I would just again kind of go back over a few things that I was saying before, is that when you look at these things, guys, again, like, don't feel overwhelmed, and all these things that you learn on your foundation, you will, whether you believe it or not right now, you will actually use those things in your future practice on your degree, whether it's how you gather research, how you use it. And Katie just said something really important in terms of like how you think, how you translate images in your head, how you understand something and take it from A to B to C to D. All those things you'll start to learn and practice and exercise that muscle, I guess, in your mind, and you'll continue to use that as you go on. But I hope you guys are excited, and I hope you guys don't pass up the opportunity to do a foundation. I think it is a wise decision and a good decision to take before you do go on to a degree, and you definitely see the difference between those who have done a foundation than those who do go straight onto a degree, in my opinion and in my experience anyway. So definitely have a look at the site, have a look at the students' work, get excited, get inspired. Again, ask questions, even if you want to inbox us on our Instagram pages. I'll probably try and put that in the chat, unless the people who...
And at Middlesex, you're already on the course. So basically our foundation works as sort of pass fail, and when you pass, you are already sort of a year zero.
Yeah.
So you're already part of it, and so you'll go through then straight into the BA that you pick. And how it works when you sign up for the foundation is that you initially sort of have to pick fashion design with foundation, or communication, fashion style and communication with foundation. However, because it's an exploratory year, if you originally sign up for fashion communication with foundation, and then you're halfway through the year and you're like, actually, I'm a textile student, that is then something that we sort of get changed, and then you can go on your right path. But that's the sort of the official way that you sign up, just to sort of let you know that bit. But you're taught as one whole class, and so each project explores each element in different ways.
That's about Katie and Emma. Do you feel have we covered enough for the Fashion Foundation? I think that was a lot of information.
Bombarded,
but I know you're all taking notes and you were drawing and you're being inspired, so definitely keep up that good work. So I don't know if you can add comments. Can you add comments, Katie?
So you can, even in the Q&A function, if you want to add you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, perfect. So I'll add in this website then into the open section. Is that right? I don't seem to have the
I think so. One person did ask for the website, and Iman did the website.
Excellent. So Iman's going to answer the question. Perfect. Okay, so that's the website. What I thought we could do quickly, just because obviously that covers our Fashion Foundation, but actually this week we have launched the graduates. So you've obviously, year zero is Fashion Foundation, and then you go through Foundation and your 3 years of your undergrad. And this year we've launched the graduate website. So if you move on to another website, which is called, it's 2021.fashioncommunication.co.uk. Maybe Iman or Katie can slot that into the Q&A box. And this is a website featuring all the students that have came through the whole programme, and that after their third year, they're now leaving to go into industry. So this website, we're doing events today and tomorrow, online talks and activations around sort of industry and future proofing and making sure the students are ready to embark on their exciting journeys into industry. But it has lots of work through all the programs. So I thought we could look at just one little short film and obviously come back to it in your own time. The manifesto this year is called Everything is Different. So there's lots of that kind of discussion, obviously, because the world is changing around us as we speak. I'm sorry, my internet's a little bit slow, but so we're going into the design pages, So on this graduate website, you obviously we're looking at work with communication and styling, fashion design and fashion textiles. This is just some of the exciting work we've done. Sorry, I think my internet's going a little bit slow. Don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, we can see. Yeah,
Okay, so,
keep going, Scott.
yeah, it's all good. And so this is some of the 3D work that's came through this year. Oops, it's not. It's kind of buffering. I don't know if it's because we're on Zoom. Let me just come out of here. Let me just be with me. Talk amongst yourselves. I was going to show you the BFC video from this year, Iman, the one that you and Theodora put together.
Yeah, well, just while Scott's doing that, guys, we did launch our showcase today with all of the cohort of the 2021, and it's a big collaborative site, which is great. So you've got the fashion, styling and communication, you've got fashion design, and then fashion and textile design students. So it's a great website if you want to see what our cohorts have just done in this year of working remotely and during a pandemic, but the level of work has been absolutely phenomenal. And we've been having industry talks today. We've got another one starting in about 10 minutes. But do take a look. Again, don't feel overwhelmed, be inspired, and just think to yourself, like, this can be you one day with us here at Middlesex. And these guys have gone through the whole process as well, from foundation all the way through their degree, through highs and lows, and here they're ending up on a high. So be encouraged that this can be you guys too. But yeah, definitely take a look and be inspired.
Very good, Iman. Thanks for that. That was a good moment for the tech. So this little film here, I don't know if everyone can see that moving, but that was the recent film that we created for the British Fashion Council. So that's featured on their website, and we're one of the schools that they support. So this has lots of different work. We clubbed it together to make this really cool collaborative film. If you watch it on the BFC, British Fashion Council website, you can hear the soundtrack. It's not coming through here, but again, this is kind of like virtual reality, making moving image and stuff that's really cool and really modern. So I think at Middlesex, all the tutors and all the teams are really aware of always, again, like Katie said, tapping into industry. We all work part-time in industry as well, so we know what's coming up and who's prominent, and then we bring those people from industry to come and talk to the students and give masterclasses. So there's a lot of sort of industry stuff that we do.
And a lot of chance to collaborate. You know, we have 3 different main pathways, which then have multiple pathways within them. But there's also, as a directorate, we're really close, and lots of kind of joint crossover projects and chance to collaborate with each other, which makes it a really interesting and dynamic student body to work with.
Definitely.
That's the best word, dynamic. Shall I stop sharing the screen now, and then we can just come on for any questions? Is that okay?
Perfect.
Okay, so thanks everyone for watching us all. Okay, so that's us, better. My screen was really buffering there. That's why I was kind of slowing down. I couldn't really see what we're doing, but any questions?
Any questions?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much, first of all, to Katie, Scott, and Iman. That was amazing. It was really interesting, very, very inspiring. So if anyone has any questions, please pop them into the Q&A button. I know there's a lot of information there, but anything that you can think of right now, please pop it into the Q&A button. Of course, if you do think of any questions in the future, I'm sure you can ask these guys via Instagram or via any other social media platforms as well.
Yeah, even if you go into the main website, on each program, you can click on the program leader, and that will take you straight to an email. So you can drop them an email as well if you don't have Instagram and stuff. So and we'll be picking that up all summer. So yeah. But
we'll give it another 30 seconds or so. So if you have any questions, pop them into the chat function and the Q&A function, and we'll be able to answer them there. Actually, I had one question that maybe some students might be thinking of. So in the actual main undergraduate course, are there any chances for placements?
Yes, we have on second year, there's a whole module. So there is a term sort of between Christmas and Easter, which is dedicated to placement. But Scott can correct me if I'm now right. All of the courses now as well offer a placement year?
Yes, so we offer the second year 6-week placement, but we build it into the whole entire academic second year. So you get lots of industry workshops in the first term, where we bring industry speakers in to give you lots of advice and skills, build your CV, build your covering letters, and then you go out to industry and then you come back and present your findings, which is really good. But then between second and third year, you can opt out to take a year, and it's called a thick sandwich. Strangely, we don't know why, but it's like a sandwich. But if you'd opt to take the thick sandwich, which is really exciting, a year in industry, you also can get an advanced diploma in professional practice. So, yeah, so you get an extra certificate on top of your BA if you want to. You don't need to do that. But.
And it's really helpful for placement if you're wanting to do wider placement, because you're still studying and still part of the uni. So if then some people also choose to do placement abroad or in Europe, and then it works out like some companies can only take you while you're still studying, so it really helps offer wider opportunities.
Yeah.
So if you're wanting to do that, but yes, we also have it, like Scott was saying, in for 6 weeks embedded in the course as well, but if you want extra, it's also an option.
Absolutely.
No questions.
I'll just say thank you so much, Anjali. I really enjoyed that. Katie and Iman, that was brilliant.
Just enjoyed it too, guys.
Really fab. If there's no more questions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think because there's no questions, I just want to say thank you to all of you for joining us today. And thank you to Scott, Katie, and Iman. That was a really insightful and informative presentation, very inspiring. And like I said earlier, if you have any questions in the future, please drop these guys an email or a message via social media. They'll be definitely very happy to answer them. But for anyone else, I hope you all have a very good evening.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much.